Welcome to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. Another great show on tap for tonight. Before we bring in tonight's guest, let's bring on my co-host, one of many way, Al the Rattler Chester, former quarterback at Florida A&M, national champs 1978, and voice of the Rattlers football and basketball radio broadcast.
Happy Hump Day, Les.
What's going on, Al? What's happening, my man?
It's all good. All good, man. We got 85-degree weather. We're loving it right now.
Yeah, it's warm here too. But we got a great guest tonight. We're going to be talking NBA playoffs, MVP. I mean, there's some crazy things happening. But before we bring on tonight's first guest, let's start our opening reel of tonight's guest. Tony, run the reel.
And Patrick Ewing should be able to take care of from a rebounding standpoint. Oakley hustles for the steal. Harper with the big Gugliotta back.
All right, that's the man. If you haven't recognized him, number 34 with the New York Knicks, Swartz Talkin Sports is proud to introduce for the second time on our show, Charles Oakley.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Charles?
Hey, Charles, how you doing?
You got it, man. I'm in New York, just taking it easy right now.
Yeah, well, listen, we appreciate it. I know you're pretty busy. You got a lot of things going on, so thanks for taking a few minutes here to join us at Swartz Talkin Sports. Listen, I want to get your analyst hat on today, Charles. I want to talk NBA playoffs at first, and then we'll talk some MVP. And then people haven't seen it here. Charles got a great book here, The Last Enforcer. I read it. My girlfriend's read it. It is very entertaining, and I want to get a little bit of take on some of the stories Charles has in it. But, yeah, let's get started with some playoffs with Charles, and let's get his analyst's job here and see what he's seeing in the playoffs so far.
All right, Charles. Hey, let's have it, baby.
Well, no, it's just, it's the young teams is rising in the NBA. The young legs is taking over. You get a lot of the old heads. LeBron just lost to Denver, 5. KD lost 4 to Minnesota, and Curry didn't make the playoff at all. He made the play in. So you can see the change of the NBA. It's a global market. And I think that Minnesota is showing that bigs still can play in this game. It's just how you have him on the court with a shooter, with Cat. And but I think that OKC is showing that they're not big or nothing. It's got real IQ for the game, real efficient team. SGA should be the MVP of the league. Denver's still the boss, somebody knock him off the crown. It's just like, Minnesota is really trying to make some noise this year. And I think that they got some tough guys over there. I know Ant, since Atlanta when he was in high school. Kid just all about business and want to get better. A lot of heart, tough. I think that you ain't seen a two guard that tough in a while in the NBA. But the East is it's Boston to lose, and I think that the Knicks is really playing with a lot of energy. Miami hurt. Milwaukee's hurt. Indy's playing well. Indy made some good trades in trade deadline, and they trying to show they can be one of the better teams in the East because there's a lot of scoring power. They got a lot of length. The Knicks just playing hard, and they blew it last night. They should have won that game. That series should be over. I know everybody said Philly should have won 2 or 3 games, but that series should be over right now. And now you go to Philly in a hostile environment. The crowd is tough up there in Philly. It's not gonna be easy, so I think the Knicks just gotta keep Embiid in pick and roll and wear him out that way, and don't let him rest on defense.
Charles, I've got a question to ask you. Were you surprised? You did mention 2 of the younger squads in the NBA, led by 2 future superstars, and maybe I think are going to be the face of the league, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Oak City and Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man out of Minnesota. But were you surprised that both of those teams swept their first rounds? I mean, they're not real experienced playoff teams, and they ran roughshod 8-0 against those teams.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think that, you got veteran teams out there. And I think that, like I said, Minnesota, they swept Phoenix. I think Phoenix got all scores. Nobody else can play defense. And I think that the wear and tear in that game of what Minnesota can weigh you down. And I think that OKC is just a young team that people really gonna know about in the playoff. Like I said, SGA should be the MVP. They got a lot of guys, Williams, They got hungry. He was rookie of the year, my rookie of the year, because he played and they got the best record in the league. I know that everybody was the guy San Antonio, number one pick in the draft, but San Antonio got the same record this year, last year, and you got the number one pick. So I'm not going with hype. I'm going by what your record is, and I think that from OKC, for the guy, he missed all last year and come back and play a good year. He probably averaged 17, 6 and 6. That ain't bad for a rookie.
No.
And you got the best record in out west, and I think Boston got the best record in the East. So that's gonna be a good matchup. And whoever played at Dallas or the Clippers game, so that could be a great matchup. And I think it's whoever win the playoff between Minnesota and Denver, going to probably go to the Western Conference and win the whole thing.
Charles, let me ask you this. And the game obviously has changed a lot since you played, the way it was played, the design. I mean, talk to us about how the game has changed through your eyes in comparison to when you played.
Well, I think the last commission we had, before you rest in peace, Stern, his main goal was go globalize. And I think that once you get the global market and you get so much, revenues come from these other countries and the players is coming in. Because when I first got in the league, you might have had about 4 or 5 European players. Now you got about 30, 35%, and it's going up every day. We talk about basketball. And that's where the money coming from. It's more skilled players for shoot and move out the ball. And I see that. I see less IQ, good athletes, but when you watch a game, you just like everybody can't make threes, but everybody's shooting threes. And I think analytics are hurting the game for us that if you got some knockdown shooters, yeah, but sometimes guys shoot three and that's not his shot. And that's why sometimes you watching, you can get a headache watching the game. But it's definitely it's global market now, and European, maybe 6 out of your top 10 players are European right now. They can play. Look what Murray doing. Look what Joker doing. Look what Luke doing. SGA, I guess B was a U.S. citizen now. They got some guys out here can play, and they making a difference. And it's good for the league, but I think it's bad for the U.S. players because they knocking out a lot of jobs over here because we not working on our shooting and our skill stuff like they do. We just want to dribble and shoot, and I think that the game definitely changed. It's not physical like it used to be, but I see a little more physicality in the playoffs. I don't know how the inconsistent. You can go 82 games, not physical now. You can let them play physical. That's hurting a lot of teams, but it's good for the Knicks, I think. And the Minnesota is a real physical team, too.
Well, you got those two big guys inside. You got Towns and you got Rudy Gobert, the 7'4" kid out of France, who's a rim protector. Charles, I got a question because we talk about this on the show all the time about rule changes and things. Listen, I'm a traditionalist. I'm sorry, and I know the game.
Me too.
And I know the game changes. I get it, but the Euro step, I swear to God, and I'm mentioning him because it happened the other night. I love the player. I love Brunson. I do, but in one play, I saw him double dribble, carry, and travel in the same play. Yeah. I sit there and it drives me completely batty. I don't understand it. It's like, why don't they call it the Euro Asian step and let him just pick the ball up and run 7 steps?
Well, I blame Michaeljordan for traveling. He traveled 80, 90% of the time. So now they went from 3 steps to 4 steps. Now they get 5 steps. But that's what they are. Because my thing, if they call traveling, the game really be slow. Because I think, like I see, at least 6 or 7% of the guys travel all the time. And that step back move, I mean, you might well somebody get it patent because they're gonna do that move. That's the new thing right now, the step back. So yeah, it is a lot of traveling, carrying, but they try to call it sometimes and just let the guys know that they watching. But that's something new they put into the game today. You can travel, but don't take 6 steps, but you can take 4 or 5.
I get it. Well, Al,
Charles, what about the traditional big man? They don't have a traditional 7-footer shooting balls, 3-point range now. The traditional big man like Akeem and Jabbar. I mean, those kind of guys.
Well, you got them, but they move further out. Joker, he can do everything. I think that I think Minnesota is showing guys showing around the league, you still need big guys to play. I mean, everybody want to play this cute ball, go small lineup, this and that. It's okay sometimes, but when teams like, they say LA need a big, this and that. I mean, yeah, you knew that. Most times you play an LA team back in the days when they won a championship, they had two big guys. Anybody that was on Chicago Bulls with Phil Jackson, they had three big guys. And I think that you can see in the league, you're gonna need big guys. Everybody want to go small. That's the one thing I hated at the end of my career. Teams always trying to adjust. No, if you win it with your team, keep your team on the floor. That's what Minnesota doing. They're not adjusting to what somebody else doing. I think I got to give Minnesota a lot of credit because everybody was told like you can't play with them two big guys on the floor. No, they wearing people down. They had a strategy of why they wanted two big guys. Now it's working. And then plus you got Anthony can do whatever he wants on the court. So I think you better get a big guy. If you Joker for 7'1", 7'2", and he's a problem. So you need a big guy on your team. You're trying to get to the finals or something. That's why Phoenix wasn't that good. They had a big guy, but not a tough big guy. You gotta have someone want to bang.
Yeah.
Want to be a role player. The Knicks got two guys who want to go to, Robinson and other kids. So, you got to sacrifice. You can't. That's another thing with the NBA. Guys don't sacrifice to win. They want numbers so they can, everybody want to get paid. But when you win, everybody's going to get paid. So I think, that's what I see a lot of teams, coaches not telling guys their roles and at team concept. That's why you see so many teams break down at the end of the game.
Well, we only have you for about 15 more minutes, and we've got some questions here from some of our viewers out there. So if you're out here, we've got Charles Oakley for another 15 minutes. We want to get his predictions on the rest of the playoffs. We do want to get some MVP talk in and quickly on The Last Enforcer, which I think is a great read. And if you haven't, check it out. We'll put it up there where you can get it. But Joni, our Q&A girl, what do we got for Charles right now?
Okay. Well, we've got a viewer, Rob, out there who says, "Hi, Charles. Welcome back. Who do you like in the NBA this year? Who's your favorite?
Favorite team?
Who's my favorite? Yeah. In the playoff right now, or just period?
I think period.
What team do you like?
I'm a LeBron fan. I like Curry, but I think Minnesota's in OKC's on the rise. Memphis had John Morant, but he had made a couple of hiccups, so we got to work him back into the system. But I think, like I said, Anthony Edwards is really showing people that, hey, he gonna bring it every night. He's like old school guy. Because when he was in Atlanta, like in the weekend, we used to play. When he was in high school, he was playing with the pros. So he learned a lot. He got a little tough and a little grit to him. And he changed in the NBA again to like, hey, you better come to play when he's on the court. He's sending a message.
Well, I got to tell you, Charles and Al, the thing that really amazed me and really made me a fan of Anthony Edwards was about 2 months ago when there was a play where he was out of it. He hustled all the way down the court, gets up, and he got up so high. I think he hit his head on the backboard and blocked the shot. He's just a tremendous. There's his little crossover where he completely embarrasses somebody and sticks a three. But the guy is such an incredible athlete. But to your point, Charles, he balls out. He doesn't take plays off. He is offense, defense, 100% all the time, and you got to respect that.
Yeah, no doubt. I just wish that team, sometimes they get a little wild. They forget about, every possession is a key. But I think that they playing, so you got to give them their flowers right now. I like to see this series with Denver. They're going to be a tough series, and I think, they can upset Denver because, so they got two bigs. So they got to just stay home with Joker and just make him work.
Do we have another question out there?
We do. We do. Rob, he has another question.
No, Rob's.
He's obviously from Boston. Ooh. Can the Celtics win without Porzingis?
Good question.
Good question. I don't know. Boston scared me a lot. My thing is, send a message. You should never lost that second game to Miami.
Agreed.
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, you got talent. Yeah, you had talent for the last 4 or 5 years. It ain't got to nothing. So, I don't know. I got to see. I mean, they should get to the East. I think that if Knicks win Philly, I think the Knicks can beat them. So we'll see. But KP is going to be a big loss for them. I think Drew Holiday going to have to pick it up a little bit. I think, they got some pieces on Boston. It's just sometimes when you need them, they don't gel together. And I think that If they don't get out this year and get, I think whoever wins is gonna come from the West, but they got to get back to the finals. If they don't get to the finals this year, they're gonna have to shake something up because all the pieces ain't. Some reason at the end of the day, they ain't matching that when you're in the championship. You should, last 3 or 4 years, they've been championship or nothing. But it's just something, something is missing. They gonna be like the Minnesota Vikings, not legend over the careers, but in the last 10 years, they're gonna be like the Minnesota Vikings. They, get to the Super Bowl, can't win it, this and that. So things happen. I mean, it take a lot when you get to the Super Bowl. I mean, to the championship game. We lost to Houston, and we win 7 games, but hey, everything is so important when you get there.
Do you think? I'm just looking at this thing right here. You've got the Celtics tonight can close out. Miami. They should, even without Porzingis. I think they're 21-4. They should close it. They should close out tonight. Yeah. Now you got the Knicks, who blew a 6-point lead with, I don't know, what they have, seconds to go in the game, 26 seconds or something to go.
Wow.
Maxey went off. I mean, he's a tremendous young talent out of Kentucky. Picked up the pieces when Embiid went down. Can the Knicks close out Philly in Philly tomorrow night, or do you think it's going 7?
Wow. They better close out. I mean, they're going to play the best game they played all year. I think it's going to be a tough, the environment in Philly. The fans going to be going crazy. They got some of the craziest fans in the sport anyway. I think that guys knows how to play. I mean, sacrifice, just play. They're going to play big minutes, but just when you out there, limited turnovers. Know that they got to get the loose 50-50 ball. Last night, they got a little slack in that. Philly beat them probably in the 50-50 ball. And that's why Philly won that game, because they was more active. Embiid was getting more rebounds, put more pressure on the defense. It's gonna be tough. I think that the Knicks gonna have to come out early and get a lead, because then once you get the lead, you put the pressure on Philly. They got to fight and hope you tire them out before the last 3 or 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, because that's what's been going for them. So they got to get back on their job, making them work hard. Limit them second shot, run the B up and down court, put them in pick and roll, tire them out.
Well, let me get Al. Let's get your take. I'm just curious, and I want to get Al both your takes on this, but I want to jump real quick to the MVP, and I want to look at this because it's always been the same cast of characters the last couple of years. It's been, it's been the Joker, and it's been LeBron, and it's been KD, and it's been Steph. Kind of the changing of the guard in the NBA, I think, started last year, but really prominent this year. You've got some great young players, Al. Who do you like out there, Al, for top 2 or 3 MVP? And I want to get Charles's take as well.
Of course, I like Tatum with the Celtics. I like Alexander. I like Ant-Man. I mean, I tell you what, he's lighting it up. Mm-hmm. He's a player, man. And what Charles said, just to echo what his commentary was, this guy brings it every night, and he plays with so much confidence, and he shoots the ball well. I tell you what, he's a player. But those will be my top guys.
Charles, you got to love, you mentioned him a couple of times, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, out of Canada, goes to Kentucky. Yeah. And, I mean, they had the best record in the Western Conference. I mean, he is so versatile. He's smooth. He can drive. He can dish. He can hit the three. He can hit he's got a great mid-range game. He's a tremendous – I think he's one of the most talented players in the NBA.
I mean, for definitely getting his own shot, him and Ant-Man can do it all off the dribble. And I think that you got to get the SGA, because last year he averaged 30-something. Not because he averaged 30 points, it's how he moved his team from, 7-8 seed last year to come back to win the West, best record in the West. And he made everybody around him better. Other guys come along and playing hard with him. What they done the last 2 years, and how he's so efficient, and right there, so they swept New Orleans, and coming from losing a 7-game series and coming back and sweeping the team in the first round, hey, that's improvement. And this man put work in to get better, and he showed how the team got better, and everybody believed in him.
Well, I got to ask a question too. Now we talk about Jokic all the time, the Joker from Denver, who really should have won it again last year, and he backboned that team to a championship. Obviously, he's got a great supporting cast. Murray's tremendous. Porter's been playing out of his mind. My question, Charles, if you're a coach, not when you play, but if you're coaching right now, how do you defend this guy? How do you kind of take him out of a game? Because when you look at it, just looking at the television set and watching him play if you're live, you're like, he looks unorthodox. He doesn't look smooth. He doesn't look athletic, but yet he's unstoppable. I mean, he might be arguably the best passing big man I've ever seen since Bill Walton. That's how old I am. But I'm just, if you're coaching this guy, how do you defend this guy, and how do you create some way to kind of make him not the biggest factor? What would you do?
Well, like I said with Joey B tomorrow, what the Knicks got to do. You got to keep him in a pick and roll. You can't let him rest on defense. Yeah, he's gonna get his numbers. He's so efficient. I think that you got to put bodies on him, and that's what Minnesota gonna do. They got 2 or 3 guys they can put on him. They got Reed come off the bench. They got go there. They got and they got Cat, man. So Cat William. So they gonna have to just work him and try to tire him out. And like I said, just Anthony Edwards will have to just put pressure on him going to the rim. He's not a real protector, so that's another thing. That's a plus for Minnesota. But just have to work him. Don't go overboard because he's gonna play well. He's the MVP. He's gonna get numbers, but don't let the number just take over the whole game. You know, if he gets his number, you gotta show down Murray. Murray's been an X factor from 3 years ago, from the bubble last year, this year. He hits shot. It's hard when you get a guy who can hit shots in the clutch and this and that. And I mean, he can just hit 1, 2, 3, 4. He hit many of them over the last 4 or 5 years. And I mean, he's a big guy. He's a big guard. And they got the great role player with Aaron Gordon, Caldwell Pope, for his like he can check 2 to 3, and and efficient with not getting in foul trouble for checking guys. And it's gonna be a great series because they're gonna be body against body. Because like I said, a lot of them guys are athletic. You're gonna see a lot of skill in this next series with them.
Al, who are you picking to win the NBA championship? Who are you picking, Al, to win it all?
Well, I want to comment that one of the things he said earlier was talking about the physicality of the game now. It looks like they're playing more physical in playoffs. It's a different season, but it looks more. It's more physical during the playoffs. But I tell you what, it's a tough because they're playing so well. There's a lot of parity in the league. Anything can happen. Whoever has the hot hand, just like Charles said, the guys can shoot inside, and the big guys and even the smaller guys shooting outside. I mean, it's run and gun. Who's going to be the best? Who's going to have the fire and the intestinal fortitude to put the ball in the hoop? You got to get the ball in the hoop more times than your opponent. And so to say right now, Les, I tell you what, it's hard for me to say, but I'm just a big Ant Edwards fan right now. I think the way they're playing, I like what they're doing. But, of course, you can't deny Tatum and those guys with the Celtics. I mean, they've got a lot of experience. They've been there,
Charles
done
not
that.
high on the Celtics for some unknown reason.
I like the name, I like the people, but I ain't seen them proving in their wings that can go downhill and get teams in foul trouble. And Boston's got to work the system. The system is your face been there. You got a global name. You got a lot of championships off the top of your head when you play in the Garden. These guys got to go downhill. They got to put teams away. And you keep letting like teams like Miami or a team in this round beat you, let another team beat you. You got to put these teams away. I know it's hard. Teams gonna play hard, this and that, but Miami ain't got Butler. Boston should be beating about 25-30. They shouldn't even be able to make a run on you.
Well, something, Charles. Well, you're absolutely right. And I think the biggest attraction to the Celtics is they lack that killer instinct. In the fourth quarter, when you've got the team down by 15 or 20, step on their throat and don't let them up. And they seem to take their foot off the gas.
Yeah, you know what? They start selling them threes. They start selling threes.
Well, they kicked it up in game 2. All right, everybody out there, check this out. This is an awesome read. I love it. The Last Enforcer, Charles Oakley with Frank Isola, who's on First Take and a lot of shows on ESPN. But Charles, I've got to ask you this because there's so much in it. Your upbringing in Cleveland. Going to Alabama, as a child, going back to Cleveland, your college days, your relationship with Michael Jordan, your relationship with the Knicks, with Pat Riley. But I have to say, because everyone's familiar with this guy, and it's a great teaser. You know what I'm gonna say. It's this. I did not punch Charles Barkley. I did, however, slap the shit out of him. And I got to say, it's a great teaser. It got me right there. And I'm like, I got to read this thing. I got to read this. What was the deal about that? I know you had a confrontation on the court with him.
Yeah,
when
we had
Houston.
beef. Well, he just like Isaiah, they talk a lot, this and that. He's a good player. But for his size, but he talks so much. But back then he didn't talk. You talk back then, they're gonna tap you up. They're gonna do something to you. Just like when I did something to him. So, but I ain't gonna take away his talent. But he's a good talent guy. But he just, like he call everybody stupid and dumb all the time. He was an asshole when he played.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He makes a lot of money, Charles, for talking on television. Is what he does.
I don't let money determine me of a person. He's still an asshole. Yeah. We're
on YouTube. I think we could get away with that.
Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. Well, no, we get the thumbs up from our producer. You can call him that.
I think I thought it was they got a license to cuss now because everybody cuss on TV. I thought this case. I don't know.
Oh no, we got the thumbs up. We got the thumbs up. We can do
it. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I'm just curious too about. I know when we talked earlier. I remember we were talking about Larry Bird and all that. And I got to ask this question because Byron Scott was a guest on the show, and Byron loves you. And Byron goes, "Oh, you don't want to mess with Oak Tree. How did you get the name Oak Tree? Like, was that given to you by a sports writer? How was that?"
No, family, friends, just, it's just oak tree, half an oak, and then they add a tree. So I think that, we were down south and stuff. We cut down trees a lot, timber, and I think that being around in the woods a lot. So oak tree and the woods, all that goes hand in hand. But just a name, it just stayed with me.
Well, I got to tell you one thing. I am not running into a pick set by you because I don't think I'd get up that same day. So I just want to say, listen, we've got, we're 25 minutes in. I just want to get your last pick because I know you've been so kind to come on. You got a lot of things going on tonight. Give me a team. I want you. If you're at the bank right now and you're in Vegas and you're putting money down on one team right now, I don't care how many games. Who's it going to be and why?
What, to win the championship?
To win the championship this year.
Well, I say it's going to come from the West. It's going to come between Denver and Minnesota. I think Minnesota's a hot team right now. They got a lot of guys, good chemistry. They're long, and I think they got guys in the right position. And to win something, you got to have a lot of good role players to come in. But Denver, I'm saying, they got the best 1-2 punch in the league, and they manufacture in a way that if you watch Murray in that first walk-off when he buzzer beater in Denver, he went right. This time he go left. So when you can, because guys don't think like this on the court no more. Like, let me go run and double team him and get rid of the ball. So when you can go both ways and you got a joker, a guy can hit a shot or make a great pass to Aaron Gordon or something for a layup to win, they're going to be a tough out. I'm just going with them because I want to see somebody every year different win. Mm-hmm. But if I had to, I might have to, lean towards Denver, but I want Minnesota to win.
You got a relationship with Anthony, so I think it's going to come out of those two.
Hey, that's the guy.
He is. Yeah. He is. He's
Hey, I got a question for you, before you get out of here. I know you're on. What advice would you have for young college players who have aspiration to play in the National Basketball Association? Today, from your eyes, you're a veteran, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. What advice does Charles Oakley have for a young guy?
I know it's tough on these college guys now because they get the NIL money, this and that. My thing is, I think it started at home. A lot of these kids out here playing ball and not good. The parents pushing them. Parents just taking over these AAU, going hollering at the refs, the coaches. Just know your skill level. Know what you can do, know what you can't do. And this guy told me when I was coaching with Charlotte, he's like, you the only coach I've seen work harder than the players that you working out and you being consistent. So you never know who's watching. Like some guys, when you was coming up, some people have a compound, this and that, have a workout for players. And always be one player they don't come to see, but they get attention to people. So don't give up on yourself, but you got to know yourself. Know what you can do, know what you can't do. And, hey, it ain't meant for everybody. I know it look easy sometimes. I know Curry made everybody change their lifestyle for shooting threes. I think that's bad for the game because kids get in the way get in their own way. They want to shoot threes, but can't make a mid-range, make their free throws. So I hope the kid just realize that, hey, you got to know yourself first.
All right. Well, listen, Joe. Well, first of all, I want to say, first of all, like I said, I know it was a last-minute thing, and I really appreciate you taking time to come on. You're in New York. You're doing a lot of things. So, by the way, real quick, what is Charles Oakley doing now? Like, what are you doing? Is that 3-on-3 still going on with Q?
3-on-3.
Okay.
I'm working on documentary. I'm working on doc. I got a shoe line coming out. My Oakley Foundation. We just started 3 years ago, and I'm relaunching my Last Enforcers with my car wash line, my clothing line. So I'm just doing me. I'm still doing the charity events to get me back to the inner city, going around to different charities, trying to put a smile on people's face.
Well, Charles, speaking of your foundation, we were going to throw something at you and just ask a question. I wanted to do it before the show, but let's just do it real quick. So we're going to be hooking up with a auction house. What we'd love to do is have you autograph one of your books here and a jersey, and we want to auction off the proceeds to go to the foundation. Does that sound like something that we can maybe do?
No problem.
Yeah, love to get some money for the foundation and pump it anytime we can.
Get you a book. Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, my foundation, that's what we do. We don't just like everybody just, a lot of foundations just, I'm just going to give a scholarship and I'm just going to do. My thing is, my scholarship, we do from A to Z. We need somebody to stay in the hotel and can't get my foundation will pay for it overnight. You know what I'm saying? If you need whatever. I mean, so if we need somebody to come over and cook dinner for 25 people, I go do that. All right. We just try to help people in all different ways. Well,
I know you're a chef, and one of these days we're going to have to get you on the show because I'm an aspiring chef. No, I'm really into it now, Charles. Okay. I've got the cookbooks. I'm doing all the prep work, so I'm going to have to get some recipes from you. So,
well, you're like it.
All right.
So, well, yeah, that's good. Let's let's do something together. Let's get a charity. Where you at? Let's just go do it. Go to one of them shelters of people who looking for. I think my main thing is give people a hot meal. Ain't had a meal in a while. So it's a lot of places.
Well, let's do it. I'll be in touch with you in the next few weeks, and we'll make that happen. But again, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, getting your expertise. That's Charles Oakley. The great Charles Oakley, Chicago Bulls, New York 6th grade. Have a fantastic week in New York, Charles.
All right.
And we'll see you down the road.
All right. Your class act, Charles. Guys. Appreciate you, man. Thanks. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
We'll be back with Benny the Book and more Al after this.
Locals Tavern, Leland, North Carolina's favorite neighborhood bar, just south of the bridge where everyone truly does know your name, offers a variety of cold brews, wine, and specialty cocktails, and offers something for everyone on their food menu. With daily lunch specials and live evening entertainment, Locals is a hot spot you won't want to miss, where you can unwind in a casual atmosphere with friends, both old and new.
Welcome back to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. Wow, look who popped up on the right-hand side with a New York Knicks hat. Benny the Book joining Al, Chester, and myself. Ben, what did you think of the interview?
I thought Charles would give a little more love to the Knicks, man. They're a tough, gritty team. I'll tell you. I mean, they uncharacteristically blew it yesterday.
They did,
but they're tough. I mean, they're without their center. They're playing without their center. Randall, big part of their offense. I've heard a lot of talk about every team needs that 1-2 punch. Right now with Brunson, they only have a 1 punch.
That's true. That's
true. Hart is 6'4". He plays like he's 6'8", 6'9". Yesterday was the first day they've been killing Philadelphia off the boards and Biebs, he's playing. I don't even think he's 50%. I mean, he's dragging his leg around. I don't know how the guy's playing. I mean, he's really talented.
They got Maxey, man. Maxey's picking up the slack.
Yeah, but there was a stat. Even though Embiid hasn't been scoring a lot, they're plus points, way plus points when he's just on the court. He's on the court. Hey, very similar to when Willis Reed came walking out with one leg. He fired the Knicks up that year.
Yeah. Well, something. Yes, Al, do you remember that Willis? Here's the funny thing about that Willis Reed game. He's out there, hits one shot, But it was really, everyone talks about Willis Reed.
His first
it was Walt Frazier had 37 points and like 8 steals.
Well, Clyde was
But all the drama was around Willis Reed, and what he came up. He was hurt, and he comes back, and he limps back out there, and they cheering and everything. But like Benny said, I mean, the big guy. I mean, just the presence alone, it adds some value to.
It's amazing.
To what's going on.
You wouldn't know that. Just him being out on the floor.
Well, Benny, Ben, let me ask you a question, because we're going to jump into the NFL because we had the big draft show last week, which was a blast. I loved doing it. I hope you guys did. We did pretty well. We did pretty well at that. But I want to get your pick. You're the book. If you're going to take one team right now based on what's happening, who's going to win the NBA championship?
Well, until you beat the champs, until you dethrone them. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why they don't win Denver. Minnesota will have a good shot. They will, young team, in the conference finals, Denver's been there, and they you said step on their throats. Lakers were killing them every game in the first half, and then the second half it was just no contest.
Yeah, great.
And I could not go. You can't go against Denver. I don't think anybody. I think the Knicks might get there because Porzingis being hurt. That's a big. The chemistry was great with Porzingis all year.
He's going to come back.
Yeah. Well, they got to shut him down tonight. They play tonight.
Yeah, they can close out Miami tonight.
They got to close him out, so this way he'll get a little more rest. Now that the Knicks and they're going to the sixth game.
Gotta have those young legs, though, guys. Gotta have the young legs.
But
young legs.
Joke is good, though.
Well, we were talking, Al, we were talking earlier about Jason Tatum, and we'll get to the NFL real quick, but. The interesting thing about Tatum is I think he's a tremendous talent. I loved him at Duke, and I thought it was a great pick by the Celtics when they got him. But it just seems in the fourth quarter, if you look at his statistics career, his lowest percentage shooting is in the fourth quarter. He turns the ball over the most times in the fourth quarter. For some unknown reason, he does not come up with huge fourth quarters like maybe Jokic comes up big or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander comes up big or Doncic comes up. We didn't talk about Luka, the NBA's leading scorer. He's got the 1-2 man game playing with Kyrie Irving, the guard. I just don't know about Irving. I mean Tatum. I don't know if Tatum can carry them to a championship. I think they need 7'3" Porzingis to actually take a center away from the inside game. So he loves hitting threes. If he's outside, Jokic got to come out and guard him. Embiid's got to come out and guard him. Gobert's got to come out and guard him, and it opens everything up inside for the Celtics. I think he's essential to a championship for the Celtics.
Yeah, that's a great call. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, they got to have a game plan, a formula, if you will, to win it, and especially the way they play it. And, if you're not knocking down those Jays in the fourth quarter, there's something wrong. In the NBA, you're going to be in trouble.
They thought they made the right move getting Holloway. They thought that was the final piece. They've been there the last 2 years, right?
Well, they blew the series. I mean, they were down 3-0, and they tied it up and lost to the Heat last year.
Oh,
yeah. The year before that, they were up and they lost to Golden State in the finals. Listen, real quick, before we get to football, I got to throw something out there at you guys. UConn, 2-time defending national champs. You see what they just picked up in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, like the two best players.
They might have lost some players, but they just picked up like a top 10 forward, Liam McNeely, a 6'8" sharpshooter. They just got the transfer out of St. Mary's, Aiden Mahoney, who's a tremendous player, 6'3". They got some other players coming back. I'm telling you, watch out. UConn could three-peat next year.
I agree with you. I tell you what. They're not going to have any problems recruiting players. I mean, they're going to get the best that's around. And I tell you what, the coach has done a tremendous job. And I'm with you. Three-peat is very much in sight.
I agree. All right, guys, let's go to the draft. We all did our thing last week. We had a great time with it. The draft had some surprises. There were like some head scratchers. We were nailing it. We were 4 for 4. I'm like at home going, we're all texting each other. Yeah, we got this one. We got this one. And then what happened? With the fifth pick, the Chargers lost all their weapons outside. I said Neighbors. Al liked to pick Neighbors. And Benny, on the show, you said, what does Jim Harbaugh like to do? I can see them taking a tackle, and I can see them taking alt. And what do? They must have been, Al, what did they do? We're on the phone with Benny making the pick. Was he with them?
I think Benny talked to Coach Harbaugh, so Benny had the inside scoop.
That's Benny, you nailed it, man.
They picked Big Joe Ott, man.
Pound the ball, guy. Pound the ball, protect that valuable quarterback. You know, you give him time. He's gonna hit any guys out there. You know, he could he's not Patrick Mahomes because he doesn't, you know, he's more in the pocket, but he can use his legs. Mm-hmm. But, you know,
right.
Well,
and
Ben,
he changes the whole Harbaugh changes the whole makeup of the team, you know.
But Ben, the Giants pick next. Being a Giants fan, first of all, a shout out to William Barnes, a guest on our show a couple weeks ago with Ed Montelis. We'll get to Ed, but William signed a free agent deal with the New York Giants. They're in desperate need of offensive linemen. We wish William the best. I know that he's going to be out there at camp May 12th. We're going to try to hook up with William later on in May. But Benny, with the Giants, and hopefully Ed, he's been contacted by the Chargers and the Niners, so hopefully he signs a free agent deal very soon. But are you happy, Benny, being a Giants fan, getting Malik Neighbors?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's an exceptional talent. I mean, you know, there's no doubt about that. You know, later on, offensive linemen, you get them later on. You got to pick the most talented guy, you know, and they did. You know, they need help, you know, for Daniel Jones, and that was a really, really good pick, I thought. And I think they got their offensive. They got a good defensive back, very good defensive back too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Giants helped themselves
to replace McKinney. They did all right. They did all right.
Now, obviously, you know, we talked about it during the draft. I gotta stop saying obviously. I think everything's obvious at these times. But what we did in the draft is we said there was going to be a run on a position, you know, and we knew there were going to be some trades, and we predicted 5 or 6, which there were. The biggest, I'd say, controversy in the draft, or which made everyone just kind of like, whoa, where did this come from, was Michael Penix Jr. Now, I had Penix Jr. going with the 12th pick. I had him going high in the first round. A lot of experts said, late first, early second. But the Atlanta Falcons, the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins 3 months ago, $180 million contract, $100 million guaranteed. Now, 36 years old, coming off an Achilles injury, which that's a head scratcher with its own. I've had my Achilles injury, and you're never the same. I don't care if he's a pro athlete or whatever. He's never going to be the same. No doubt about that. But were you shocked that they didn't help their team now, like a need right now that's going to help them this year or next year? Why would they go with a future pick at a quarterback that's going to be 24 years old in May? And potentially, if Cousins plays well, he might not see the field for 2 years and then be 26 or 27. Did that make sense to take him that high in this draft?
Well, I'll tell you, Les, that's $1 million question. My son and I, we were scratching our heads. We don't have any hair, but we were scratching our heads trying to figure that out. We said somebody's going to get fired because, I mean, you got Cousins, you guarantee all this big money, you bring him in, like you said, 36, coming off an injury, and then you go pick up Penix, who's actually an older quarterback for a rookie. But he can spin it, he can play, but it didn't quite make sense. There's got to be some method to the madness. And I read some commentary from their head coach and their owner. They're expecting Cousins to be that guy. Now, if he stays healthy, that means Penix will be sitting on the sideline. I mean, so it only makes sense if somebody gets hurt. If Cousins gets hurt and Penix comes in and he's the savior, then it all looks good. They look brilliant. But it's hard to figure that one out. But I tell you what, if Cousins doesn't play well, the fans are going to let them know they want to see a new guy in there right away, because we talked about him. He's a talent. He can get you to the door, but he can't kick that booger in, man. Now, they've got great talent around him, but we'll see how it all plays out. But I'm still scratching my head about that one.
Now, Benny,
they could have got defensive help. Kid from Alabama.
Dallas Turner.
Their defense needs a lot of help. Best defensive player they could have got. They could have got a Dunze to help Cousins. And I don't know what was in their minds. Like just 2 months ago, what made them change from 2 months ago that, Penix is the guy we got to get? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know, they paid $100 million to get their guy Cousins that they said, was going to take him. Now you get your defensive help, you get your wide receiver to help him, and then they go and pick the quarterback. Like Al said, you know, he's gonna sit behind him for 2 or 3 years.
Guys, I got to tell you, though, I can see a parallel here of something that happened when the Seattle Seahawks drafted Russell Wilson. Granted, it was the 3rd round. They had brought in Matt Flynn, who took over for an injured Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay and lit it up and really played well at Green Bay. Seattle thought, wow, this is the guy. They gave him they backed the Brinks truck up, gave him a ton of money, and drafted Russell Wilson as a 3rd rounder to be his backup and groom him. What happened? Wilson outplayed him in camp, outplayed him in preseason, and won the start. They dumped all the money. They just said, well, we blew all the money, but we got our quarterback, and they had Wilson. I can see something similar where he comes back from the injury. He's a little bit slower to come back. He's not going to come back right away. Penix gets reps, really plays well. They must have loved him in the pro day. They must have loved what he did, gets reps, and they just say, well, guess what? We just blew $100 million. We have to eat that because it's guaranteed, but we got a quarterback, and Penix ends up unseating Cousins. I can see a scenario that happens.
I think Cousins.
Well, how about this one, though? Go ahead, Benny.
No,
I think Cousins is a little more established as like Al said, he could get you to the playoffs. He may not get you to win the Super Bowl. Flynn was just like a 1 year. It was like a one year wonder. You know,
but I'm talking about the money they gave him, like the money.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just. What do you
how
say?
About this one though? I was going to say that RG3 was the number 1 pick for the Redskins when Cousins was drafted behind him.
That's true.
RG3 did go down. Cousins stepped up, and he got his opportunity and took advantage of it. I tell you what, he's robbed the NFL for a boatload of money without a gun his entire career, man. I tell you what, but that's a perfect scenario. Somebody has to get hurt for it to make sense in Atlanta. Somebody's got to get hurt. I mean, I don't want him to get hurt, but somebody's got to get hurt for it to all make sense.
Well, I got to say, listen, our Bears super fan row out there has got to be ecstatic with the Bears. First of all, they get Caleb Williams. Now, I know it didn't work out with Justin Fields. I personally think Caleb Williams is a lot better player with a lot higher upside, can do more. They get him with the first pick, and then they grab who I think was the top wide receiver. I love Rome Odunze at Washington. I just love his game. Let's hope he stays healthy, but the guy runs routes. He's big. He's fast. He's got great hands. So you're going to have a great combination. Benny, to your point, they have Keenan Allen that they got over from the Chargers, who had over 1,000 yards last year. They got DJ Moore, who they got in a trade with Carolina last year.
They got running backs. I think the Bears, and their defense was a top 12 defense last year. Right.
They played well.
Yeah, right. At the end.
Yeah,
that turned into some division. Boys.
It did.
The Lions, the Bears, the Packers.
The Lions. The Lions helped themselves.
I mean, Tampa Bay, they paid all the money to, they lost a lot of defensive players. We'll have to see.
Well, look at the Lions. They get Terry and Arnold, who I had at the second best corner, coming off the board. That really helps them. They get Brian Branch back after a solid, basically a Pro Bowl rookie year out of Alabama. You get 2 Alabama guys back there. Their offense is loaded. They just signed St. Brown to a new contract. I think the Lions this is not a one and done thing. I think Detroit's here for the long haul. I think Campbell's a great coach and their GM's done a tremendous job. I can see the Lions ascending and being one of those 2 or 3 teams, that has that window for 3 or 4 years that got a shot like Buffalo did a couple years ago in the AFC. Here's another head scratcher, guys. The Raiders, they get Benny's favorite little toy, Brock Bowers out of Georgia. But last year, they drafted Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame, in the 2nd round, who was their starting tight end. Why would you draft a tight end, a top tight end 2 years in a row? What's the rationale there? I don't understand that.
I don't get it either, but I tell you what, the tight end is very effective in the passing game. If you have a potent tight end, then that opens the game up for the guys outside and vice versa. Bowers, I think, is probably one of the better tight ends that's come out in a while. I mean, the guy's big enough to play inside, fast enough that you can flex him out and he can run routes, and he definitely can catch the football and make plays and yards after the catch. Now, he's an exciting player, so I don't know. I actually thought the Falcons would pick him instead of Penix at that point if they didn't go defense. I thought Bowers might have been a better pick to add some spice to their offense, and then you let the big receiver who was at Florida that they've been trying to play in that tight end and wide. Put him outside, let him go in and be the wide receiver, and you got Bowers inside. So I don't know. It's a crapshoot, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, just like the New England Patriots when they had the 2 tight end system.
Aaron Hernandez, and we can't even talk about him.
Because they say that Brock Bowers is he's not your typical like blocking tight end. Like he's not like Gronk.
He's Kelsey.
Yeah, he's more he's like a wide receiver in a tight end body.
Well,
that's what he's like.
I got to tell you guys who I think really made strides in. You might have stopped their offense a little bit last year and keyed too much on the tight end, but I'm going to tell you right now, what Kansas City did, bringing over Hollywood Brown and then drafting Xavier Worthy, we know that Mahomes and Andy Reid love speed. They did it with Tyreek Hill. They lost him. So what do? They had Xavier Worthy, who just broke the record in the 40, and he was productive at Texas as well, and pairing with Hollywood Brown. Al, to your point earlier before the show, you said, good luck. Now you got to cover Kelsey one-on-one. He's probably going to have 120 catches this year.
Oh, yeah, he'll have a field day. When you got those guys outside who can take the top off the field, I mean, it opens it up for the tight end big time. Yeah. And, back to Bowers right quick, something else I thought about, they could actually put him in the backfield as well. They could probably use him in different ways. But you're talking about speed. Kansas City picked the speed guys. I mean, they were missing that, I think, and they feel comfortable. I got with guys who can run sub 4.340s. I tell you what, the Miami Dolphins got about 5 guys who run sub 4.340s. They got some quickness down there.
They
got a track team down there, buddy.
They have a track team.
Absolutely.
The 4x400 track team is what they've got.
Yes, sir.
And
I like with some alternates.
I like the Eagles.
Yeah, Quinshawn Mitchell was a great pick for them.
They're going to retool. They're going to retool. They're going to be right back. I mean, I don't know what happened last year. They were 10-1 and just disintegrate. It's like scratching your head. What happened to them? But they got some good draft picks to fill in the needs that they did, and they got my giant boy.
Yeah,
he's going to do some damage. They're going to do some damage there. He's going to do some damage behind that offensive line. I'll tell you that right now.
Les, how about this one? Bo Nix. I told you he was going to end up going to Denver.
Yeah.
Now, all the prognosticators say that he's going to be the next. Who did my man have down in New Orleans?
Drew Brees.
Down there.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. They seem to think that Bo Nix is going to be the next Drew Brees, and they say he's more game ready right now than the other guys. Yeah, I don't get it, but watch how that develops.
I agree with that. Les. Also, last night, when we last talked to your buddy there from Boston,
yes,
he made a really good point about
J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, listen to this, Al. He said, well, hold on. Ben, I'm going to let you finish that. But so, Al, next week we got a premiere. We got a pre-tape show going on with Bob Lobel, former WBZ sportscaster in Boston, an icon in Boston. And he had a really good take on J.J. McCarthy going to the Vikings. And, Benny, why don't you kind of let Al know what Bob had to say about that?
He kind of thought that the New England Patriots made the wrong pick, that Drake May hasn't played the competition. J.J. McCarthy has been in some really tough games. He's proven, just like Stroud did last year when they played against Alabama. You knew he was a gamer. He was the real deal. And J.J. McCarthy has played in a lot of big games. Michigan, Ohio State, and he's ready to be. He was more game ready than, and maybe him and Bo Nix are the same, but he's a baller. He's going to get the job done wherever he goes. And I after listening to him, I think he had a very good point. Drake may, those North Carolina quarterbacks, they come out early. They're very talented. He's got all the physical makeup. Whether he's prepared to go into the NFL or could get that, it's a lot in between here, Well, in the NFL.
He passes the eye test for sure.
He does.
But we talked about that too. Bo Nix is one of the older guys. He's played it. He's played about 6 years. So he's got a lot of snaps up under him. The same with and JJ. I still say that I question where he is because they played some games where he didn't throw the ball but 3 or 4 times. I mean, Harbaugh's a running guy, but I mean, he's played the tough games. He's played that great contest you're talking about. But I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out, man. But it's interesting.
Well, I got to say here, from top to bottom, if you look at the draft, I think the Vikings did some great things. They got McCarthy, who they feel is their quarterback of the future. Now, he probably, I don't know whether he'll start game one. He might sit behind Sam Darnold. I think Darnold's probably brought in there. We'll see what they do. But I love the Vikings' second pick in the first round in Dallas Turner. That's the guy that I thought Atlanta should have taken defensively. I mean, Atlanta bottom thirds of sacks in the NFL the last 3 years, needed a pass rusher. He's sitting there. They didn't take it. The one pick that I didn't like in the first round was San Francisco's pick of Ricky Pearsall, the wide receiver out of Florida. I think he would have gone mid to late second round. I did not have him that high. That's just me. Again, I'm not Mel Kiper Jr. or anything like that, but I think they overextended for him. And you know what I think that means, guys? That it's either Brendan Ayuk or Deebo Samuel. One of them is going to be traded before the season. I don't think they're going to keep both of them because they're going to have to sign both to a long-term deal.
Yeah, they're both on their last years of contract.
So one's gone.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd get rid of Ayuk. I love
Samuel's a switchblade, man. He does everything. Yeah,
he gets hurt a lot though. He's been hurt like the last 2 years. He's one of them guys because he runs so violently and he's so tough. He takes a lot of pounding, and he's not like big, like he's not like 240 pounds. He's a wide receiver, but he runs like.
Would you play the guy from Florida on the inside in the slot?
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't see. I saw. You might have seen him at University of Florida, Al. I've seen him play. He didn't play slot when I watched him play. He was more of a speed guy outside. I personally, if I'm San Francisco right there, I maybe take Lad McConkey out of Georgia. If you're going to pick a receiver that has production, I think the Chargers got a great pick with him in the second round. If he plays the way he played when they won the national championship and buried TCU, McConkey was tremendous. He got banged up a little bit, had some injuries, did not play a full season, but he's got great potential, and people look at him. Let me tell you, Lad McConkey ran a 4.39. The kid is not.
Yeah, I saw that. That surprised me. I think that's fast.
Yeah, he is not. I
thought he was more quick than fast.
He is. Yeah. But people kind of draw parallels with Renfro, the kid out of Clemson. And I'm like, nah, McConkey's a speed guy. He's a 4.39 guy. He can take it to the house. Now, real quick, I just want to get your take on it because, we're going to be we got some interesting things coming on. We have a premiere next week that we pre-taped that we're going to run. And then the week after, I'll be gone. I'll be down at Bike Week riding my Harley Davidson. And thanks, Al, for putting that on your Facebook page. So we'll be riding the Harley Davidson with Joni, my brother and sister-in-law Sue. So we'll have a good time there. Tony will hopefully come down for a day with that. But we'll be running the Jim McMahon Show back by popular demand. We're going to run it like it's a brand new show. We got a ton of views on that. So let's see how that show goes. But before we go tonight, guys, I just want to get your take. What did you think about Charles Oakley's take on Charles Barkley? What did you think about that?
Well, you know what? It was interesting. I kind of heard before that wasn't a whole lot of love between the two of those guys, and why I don't know. But because he still seems to be a little bitter toward Charles. I mean, it's not a whole lot of love. They didn't make up, and it sounds like it may be something more than just stuff on the court. It may be some stuff off the court. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're going to be going to dinner anytime soon. Let's just put it that way. But, guys, listen.
It's not on this Christmas card list.
No, definitely not. I can guarantee you. But you know who was on my Christmas card list? You two guys. You're the best.
Hey, big hockey game tonight.
We appreciate you.
Big hockey game.
Who's playing tonight? Who's playing tonight?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas is playing at home against Vegas.
Vegas at Dallas. All 4 games, the visiting team won. Vegas wins the first 2 in Dallas. Dallas goes to Vegas and wins the next 2. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Well,
that's
Al, to Betty's point, I got to tell you, it's not like the NBA where home court means everything. Home ice means nothing in the NHL playoffs. It's like the visiting team is winning every game.
2-2 in the first. 7:08 left in the first period. It's 2-2 already.
It's already we already got 4 goals scored against 2 really good goalies. So we'll be watching that when I get home if I'm not watching Suits tonight. So sorry, that's my new show. I love that thing. But first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight, making the show great as always. Al, We'll be in touch. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for wearing the swag. I'm loving it. Benny, the same thing. I'll see you down the road, guys.
You got it, Al. Al, great
guys have a great
you.
trip. Be safe on the road, man.
All right, definitely. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. Listen, I'll be back with the wrap after this.
Millie's Ice Cream Shop, a full-service store in the Waterford Shopping Plaza of Leland, offering an array of tasty treats, including both hard and soft ice cream in a variety of flavors and delectable combinations to appeal to even the discerning palate, assured to put a big smile on everyone's face. Stop by today to enjoy your satisfying experience.
Hi, I'm Les Swartz, and this is Swartz Talkin Sports. Thanks so much. What a great show tonight. We did some NBA. It's heating up. I mean, the series, we got, what a matchup. Minnesota in the second round matched up against the defending champ Denver Nuggets. Exciting. Anthony Edwards going up against the Joker. This should be awesome. So, again, special thanks to Charles Oakley for coming on tonight's show. Again, The Last Enforcer, a great book. We'll be doing some things with Charles Foundation. He'll be getting an autographed copy of this and a Knicks and a Bulls jersey as well. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. Next week, again, it's going to be awesome. We have got a premiere. Bob Lobel, former WBZ Channel 4 sports icon. We had a great show. We talked about sports rivalries, rule changes. We went back and forth with New York. Tony's got some great video of some of the old Yankee Red Sox brawls. That'll be next Wednesday at 7 p.m. It'll be a live show going on at 7, but we won't be live. But Benny and I will be on the live chat, so check it out. We'll be there. We'll be answering questions as the show is airing, so that should be a lot of fun. Again, the week after, we got Jim McMahon on the 15th. We're going to re-air that show as a brand new show. And then we got some exciting guests moving on the end of May and into June. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, we picked up a few in the last couple of days. Let's keep it going. Swartz Talkin Sports. Just easy. Hit the subscribe button. I can do it. You can do it. Everyone can do it. So let's do it. So for everyone here at Swartz Talkin Sports, my amazing producer, Tony the Tiger Smiraldi, Joni, my Q&A girl and amazing girlfriend, this is Les Swartz. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday with Bob Lobel. Good night.